OKC's minus 750 to win this series. I know I feel like Chase is the highest on the Pacers out of all of us. Everybody and their grandma is betting the Thunder to win this in 5. I want to start with you, Chase. Chase, paint me the picture on how the Pacers can win these finals.
Okay, so the blueprint to beat Oklahoma City. I don't know if we found it, to be completely honest with you. I don't think it's been shown yet. The closest they got was against the Nuggets. They had the best player on planet Earth playing for them at the time, but they also had no one else to help them out. They had a limping Aaron Gordon, and OKC was on the brink of elimination. So they're mortal. There is a chance for them to lose this series. You look at Indiana, and look, they've taken everyone that they've played in stride. They've played the big man in Giannis. They've played the ball-moving shooting team in Cleveland and taken care of them. They've gone to the Knicks' place. They've played in tough environments. They've pulled out clutch wins at the very last minute in games. They've shown that they can shoot 45% from 3 in a game and run you up and down the floor. They can play formidable defense against Jalen Brunson, one of the best guards in the league, if not the second best behind, guess who, SGA. There's a world here where Carlisle, combined with Halliburton rising to the moment and playing some of his best basketball, Siakam, and especially in these last few games here, has looked like a complete another version of himself, who's like an all-NBA guy all of a sudden with this performance he has. There's a world where the Pacers figure out a way to match it up. They play decent enough defense. I think they're going to need help from the referees and the kind of what we saw in Caruso doing to Jokic in that Game 7, where the officials say, look, this is the finals. We're done with that ticky-tack free throw stuff. I don't know if that'll happen, but I'm saying I think Indiana would need that to happen. I'm painting the blueprint here. And Indiana hits their shots, and they play OKC's game, and they just do it better. And they find a way to get up and down the floor. They find a way to get Siakam involved. They hit their threes. They handle the big men. Hartenstein's not a threat offensively. They let Chet shoot as many threes as he wants, and they find a way to sneak out this win. It's not an insanely good blueprint, I know, but I do see a legitimate world where Indiana pulls this off and wins the finals. It really would have to come down to more OKC not showing up, exposing their youth once again, and kind of being prisoners of the moment here. And Indiana just taking advantage of the young, plucky team with a super experienced head coach who has titles under his belt and gets it done.
Connor, what's the path for the Pacers to win these finals?
There is a path, and I somewhat agree with you, Chase. I think this is going to sound nerdy. What the Pacers need to do is just increase the variance of all these games. They need to push the pace. They're third in fast break points. The Thunder are first. But if you're the Pacers, you kind of have to lean into that. Push the pace at all times, jack up threes, really try to run the ball down Oklahoma City's throats, because if you walk the ball up the court, if you try to set up your offense every possession and get into your sets and this and that and takes 10 seconds to get an action on one side, it's not going to work. The Thunder's half-court defense is too good. It's too solid. They have too many options to throw at you. They won't get tired. They have 3-4 guys off the bench that can come in and guard your best player on offense if you're the Pacers. And if you're Pascal Siakam, it's not going to be the same series of beating Karl Anthony Towns down the court every play and getting a fast break layup. This is different. This is a different ballgame against this OKC front line. And that's why if you're the Pacers, jack up as many threes as you can, push the pace as much as possible, and try to get in Oklahoma City's, try to get in their grill a little bit, make them turn it over, make them play out of their comfort zone. And you can't walk the ball up the court if you're the Pacers. You have to try to do something different than what they're going to expect. And that's why that's the path for the Pacers, I think. It is there. It's slim. It's going to be hard to execute that. It's a very thin line to try to cross. But I think they can do it. I wouldn't be completely stunned, but I think it's going to be really difficult.
But that's when the Knicks had success, is when they were able to slow the game down and, turn it into more of a half-court game. And, I mean, if you're playing a half-court game against the Thunder, SGA just gets to do what he does. And like you said, Chase, if he's getting the calls from the refs, and then on the other side, you got to go against the Thunder half-court defense. You're right, Connor. They got to push the pace in this one as well. And also, they got to win Game 1, in my opinion. Game 2, I think I mean, I guess you could win Game 2, but get them early. You got to get them early, like the Denver Nuggets did, because that's the only reason Denver had a chance in that series, is because they snagged one in OKC. That home crowd is legit. That's where I worry, is where I go, okay, at what point, if OKC goes up 2-0, I think the Pacers get desperate in Game 3, win that one, big home crowd. We've seen OKC just give up in some of these games and go, all right, we'll just get them in the next one. And then Game 4 becomes the game of the finals. Then Thunder go up 3-1, and I think Thunder win in 5 in this. But if the Pacers can just steal one of those games early on in OKC, they're alive. If they go down 0-2, it's over. It's that simple.
Yeah, I agree. If there's any team to do it, I think it's the Indiana Pacers. We got to be honest here. If Nesmith doesn't leave his body and Halliburton hits a step back, the highest bounce you've ever seen and goes in, Game 7 is being played right. It's tipping off at this moment, right, against the Knicks.
Or do the Knicks win in a closer series?
Yeah, or was that just so demoralizing that it ended up counting for a loss and a half or maybe even 2 losses? So. But Indiana pulled that out, and to their credit, it was a big reason and changed the entire tides and momentum of, I think, an entire city in New York City. And so if any team can do it, it's the Indiana Pacers. I think what Carlisle has to emphasize, and it sounds like you're coaching high school here, you just have to take care of the ball. The reason that OKC is so good in the fast break is because they turn you over like crazy, and that's what's been Minnesota's big problem. They absolutely murdered them in that aspect. Good news for Indiana. You have a guy in Halliburton who averaged less than 2 turnovers a game in that New York series. But bad news for Indiana, when he is not playing in the game, who's your primary ball handler? Are you trusting Nembhard to take care of the ball? Are you trusting guys like TJ McConnell to be coming off screens, making smart decisions?
I trust TJ McConnell. Don't you worry about that.
Exactly. Basketball-wise, are you trusting those dudes to step up, take care of the basketball, and then even harder, put it in the hoop? And so if you're Indiana, if you have anywhere close, I think if you have double-digit turnovers in these games, I think it's game OKC. That's their bread and butter, dude. They just turn you over, score on the fast break. They don't even let you get shots off. That's how good their defense is. So, got to take care of the ball for the Pacers.
Theoretically, this should be a pretty clean series. These guys are top 2 in opponent points per game or points off turnovers per game, so they don't turn the ball over a lot. It doesn't lead to a lot of opponent points. But I think you're right. And you mentioning Andrew Nembhard there, Chase. I think he is the number 1 X factor in this series because you know what you're getting from the majority of these guys. Miles Turner, you're going to get 2 or 3 great games and a couple average games. Siakam, you're going to get 2, maybe 3 30-point games and a couple average games. Halliburton's probably going to be a no-show for 1 or 2 of these games, if we're being completely honest. What are you getting from Andrew Nembhard? Because we've seen him score 18 points and look unstoppable at the end of some of these games. We've also seen him disappear and have 4 points on 1 for 7 with 5 turnovers. We've seen it all in these playoffs, and he's been cold recently. And that is the X factor. The Thunder are going to make Tyrese Halliburton's life hell. Who's going to get the ball on that pass whenever they double him at half court? Nembhard's getting the ball to create offense 4-on-3. Is he going to be able to do it? If not, they're going to get smoked. If he steps up, they might have a chance. The one good thing for the Pacers is there's no Karl Anthony Towns on the other side because he was kind of taking it to Miles Turner's chest in a lot of these games and kind of bulldozing him over.
Also, the bad thing for the Pacers is there's no Karl Anthony Towns on the other side to absolutely murder
which side of the ball.
I was about to say, that Game 6 was some of the most pathetic pick-and-roll defense I've ever watched in my life.
Ever? What level of basketball are we talking about here?
It was essentially watching Hunter Dickinson play.
You're right. That was brutal. Yeah, it's bad for them on the offensive side of the ball, but good for them on the defensive side.
I mean, when Halliburton would get that switch on the pick and roll to Towns is just like backpedal shuffling 7 feet away, and Halliburton's like, wait, I have a wide open 7-foot floater every single time if I want. Or if he collapses even a little bit, I can just dump it off. Like it was a free basket every single time Cat got put in action.
To piggyback off of Connor's kind of thing here, I think the X factor, if I had to choose one for this series, if the Pacers are to win, I know we're talking a lot about the Pacers, but I think the Thunder kind of speak for themselves. It's going to be, for me, it's kind of a boring answer. Pascal Siakam, even though he was the East Conference Finals MVP, which, by the way, I'd have to respectfully disagree with that award.
I feel like he was more consistent. He showed up in just about every game.
He did. Don't get me wrong, he's really bad, but Halliburton's the most important player on that team. He leads the team, he's the best player, and I think at the end of the day, you got to give it to that guy. I know he had like one of those games he was off and Siakam wasn't, but if Siakam can put the pressure on OKC defensively, I could see OKC kind of panic and getting into some weird matchups, right? Who's going to start on him? You going to try out Hartenstein? I think if you go Chet, you might rely on his length, but Siakam's got tons of weight on him. Then are you going small? You put in Dort? I think if Siakam can continue to be a force offensively, it might create a bit of a dilemma for OKC as much as they can because they're so diverse defensively and they can throw so many different matchups. But I could just see the way he's been playing, who guards him and how does he figure it out? If you put a center, he's too quick. He can stretch you on the outside. If you put Dort, he's too big. He's going to be able to shoot it over him. So if Siakam can be a force inside and then open up everything for the outside for the Indiana Pacers to knock down some threes, then again, they have a chance.
I'll tell you what, if I had to put money on it, because I saw this in the Minnesota series from OKC, they're going to put Jalen Williams on Siakam, and they're going to stick Chet in the corner guarding Aaron Nesmith, just like he did. He guarded Jaden McDaniels for a lot of that Minnesota series, and they put Jalen Williams on Randall. I feel like they'll probably go back to that, at least to start, and then you'll have Dort on Tyrese Halliburton, and then SGA on Nembhard. I think Jalen Williams can hold up decently on Siakam, but there's going to be a lot of help and a lot of doubles from Chet. So it's going to come down to, once again, can Aaron Nesmith and Nembhard hit those, swing corner threes with 5 seconds left on the shot clock? That's going to be a lot of it.
The other underrated part for the Pacers in this series is they're playing with zero pressure. There's no pressure for them still. Even they're a plus 530 dog right now on FanDuel going into the NBA
But do they look at it that
Finals.
way? They look at it that way?
I don't know why not. Us against the world, underdog mentality. Why wouldn't you go into it that way, saying nobody believes in
When
us?
they listen to this podcast, they will, Connor.
This is
They play in the locker room
material.
right now.
And then the Thunder,
Yeah.
they're a young team with all the pressure in the world. Everybody's watching the Thunder, saying, "Okay, are they going to collapse in these big moments right here?" I don't think so. Give me Thunder in 5.
Yeah, I hate to just be the ESPN College Game Day graphic, but I'm going to say Thunder in 6. I'm going to give the Pacers a little credit. I think maybe they do steal one to Oklahoma City, but I think there's going to be a couple close games where it is close until the last 3-4 minutes of the fourth quarter, and then the Thunder defense just starts suffocating, maybe a few bad turnovers, and that's where the series flips.
Content purposes, I'm begging for Pacers to win Game 1 just so we can overreact. Begging for it.
Do you guys know how many games Indiana's played in these playoffs so far?
6-5-5, right?
Yeah, so 16 games. You know how many the OKC's played?
More. It's got to be more.
5,
I'm not
12,
even doing the math. It's gotta be more.
16.
It's the same amount. They played the same amount of games. So if you want to talk about teams kind of steamrolling these playoffs, listen, OKC's done it in 2 series other than the one. Indiana's sneaky been able to just take care of business in their own right. Obviously, New York was a little bit more of a challenge heading back there, but they've also took care of Giannis and the Bucks. They took care of the Cavs, number 1 seed, and then they kind of took care of New York. I know it was a little bit shaky there, but they've played the same amount of games, is my point.
I think that's fair. I think that's a good point, but also taking care of is kind of a stretch because there's been a hell of a lot more close games for the Indiana Pacers. I mean, I mean, think about all those Cavs games were almost close except for the final one.
But, and this is just me twisting it.
You have to,
putting on my big perk hat. But is that advantage Pacers? They won all of those close games. OKC has not been tested as much as the Pacers in these things. They've enjoyed blowouts. They've enjoyed, Kendrick Williams getting all his minutes. It's been really fun for them.
Hustle.
Pacers are more battle tested. I know it's a first takey thing to say, but
yeah, the only counter argument, obviously there's a lot of counter arguments to that, but my number 1 would be I think that Game 4 Timberwolves Thunder on the road showed me what I needed to see out of OKC.
And Jalen Williams specifically.
Jalen Williams specifically, even Chet specifically too. I mean, he was hitting big time shots, and SGA's decision making in that game at the last 4 minutes of that game was perfect. Made every decision was perfect.
I agree. And if you're the Pacers, your only shot, you have to do something different to try to get him off his game and get him sped up a little bit. Bring a double, heads to screen, do something to where he's not the one making all the decisions.
But have you thought about the Pacers' voodoo magic at the end of these games?
You mean Tyrese Halliburton?
the Halliburton, yes.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. If something weird happens in Game 1 and there's like an ankle sprain or like a 10-point comeback in the last 2 minutes, there's going to have to be an investigation.
have you guys seen the Halliburton versus Shisus thing?
I have not.
It's a
New rivalry.
somewhere out there on the Twitterverse.
Who do you have? I got the Halliburton.
I mean, dude, Pacers win every close game. They really do. And for that reason, my favorite bet, I know we're not doing like bets and best bets of these finals, but my favorite bet is the series to go over 5.5 games. You can get it plus 115 right now. I think
That's wild, by the way.
Yeah, it shows. I mean, obviously you're minus 750 favorite. My favorite bet, because I think that the Pacers have it in them to have at least 2 super hot nights out of however many they're going to play, right, and get a couple wins here. But I don't think the Pacers can push this to 7 or win this, if I'm being realistic. So I'm going to go OKC in 6.
My advice there would be just bet the Pacers money line in games 1 and 2. Because they have to win one of those 2 games, I think, to push the 6, right?
Yeah, I
don't think they win both at home.
And you know the Thunder are going to be favored by 8 at least in both those games.
They're plus 320 right now for game 1. It's going to be the exact same line for game 2.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what.
I can't take back the $65 I put. So thanks for that advice right now.
It's a couple
Six
units.
6.5 units?
I don't know if you guys feel this way. Jarris Walker's out a couple weeks with an ankle sprain. He was playing decent minutes, backup center. These backup center minutes for the Pacers in the finals, I think it's going to be really rough. You got away with Tony Bradley, and you got away with Thomas Bryant hitting 3 threes in the closeout game. You're not going to get away with that against OKC. I think Thomas Bryant might get barbecued every single play.
Yeah, I would say he will if he's on the floor.
You're not going to get away with that.
What if Tony Bradley just has the best finals ever? It's like Danny Green coming out party in the finals.
I would love that. Tony Bradley like 16, 11, and 5 blocks in like 20 minutes.
Like, yeah, let's say Tony Bradley has 16, 11, and 4 blocks or something. Does Carolina all of a sudden have something to pinpoint to in recruiting?
That he might be the lead person on the I Am a Tar Heel video. Like, "Hi, my name's Tony Bradley. I'm a Tar Heel."
They throw Jordan out. The ending is, I'm Tony Bradley. I'm a Tar Heel.
I'm Tony Bradley, NBA champion, and I am a Tar Heel.
Dude, but at this rate, it's going to be Stillman White for being a business owner.
Yeah, congrats on your newest promotion, Stillman. You want to be in our promotional video for the Dean Dome this year.
Or Bubba Cunningham for rigging the March Madness selection process. We haven't even talked about the Mathurin factor, guys. The way he's been
he won't be able to play in this series very much, I don't think. I think he's going to be relegated to about 10 minutes a game, maybe. How about some James Johnson run? Can we get some James Johnson minutes?
I was going to say, well,
Shepard will be a lot.
I think Mathurin ends up playing a little bit more than we think, just because SGA is going to get these guys into foul trouble, I feel like.
I think we'll see a lot of Ben Shepard more than Mathurin.
That's probably
for defensive purposes. But yeah, I mean, Mathurin, I don't know. He had 20 points in a couple of these games. Maybe they're going to need scoring.
All right, that was a good preview. Chase, Thunder in 6. Connor, Thunder in 6. Myself, Thunder in 5.